ended with authority, but it was NiKo. Finally, we get to say his name, and we get to get excited in CS2.
Big Kovacs, mate. He was back, spamming his way through smokes, getting up to all sorts of shenanigans with the deagle. It's sick to watch, because it's one of those where it doesn't only mean good things for G2 right here, right now. It means good things for them. Following on from this, the bigger picture, if they win, if they make it to the major, and we're back into the action, Vince. Map 2, Ancient. G2 starting off on the CT side. FaZe Clan will be your tease for this one, and they posture for a mid-pop, looking to fight towards Donut early.
Smoking off red in the process as well, giving them a little bit more luxury through on this mid-peak. It can allow them to take a bit more time to draw out these angles. One smoke deployed from the right side of Donut may bait them into a false sense of security, but they're not going to push through. Instead, they're changing up the pace through catwalk into cave. Rain could be seeing multiple players in just a few moments, and it's HooXi with those Julies that puts him down. Frozen's there to return fire, but NiKo with the USP continues to keep G2 in the lead.
Snapshots. Big connections. m0NESY with the timing might be pulled off the angle that he needs to defend from. Problem is, Karrigan couldn't deliver the killing blow quickly enough. So m0NESY returns, supports his teammate, and whittles FaZe down to just 2. ropz and Brokey. They're miles apart, Vince. Brokey trapped in cave. Meanwhile, his teammates beginning to find a way to weave through the backline and make his move up from CT. Timing's going to be everything on this. There's a very slim chance they can make this round work.
ropz needs to nail the shot, though. If he falls down, and it's pretty much signed, sealed, and delivered, and he falls prey to NiKo, as so many of his teammates have multiple times in this series. Brokey at least gets the plant down. It gives him something to play off. Beautiful headshot there, delivered onto m0NESY, but there won't be a double up. There will be no way forward for Brokey, but a post plant affords them options into the second round at least. But again, we're seeing those crispy aims come to the forefront from G2.
They've been looking really drilled today. In some big shots. The paranoia creeping in already for FaZe. Visually displayed on their faces there. But like you say, Vince, it's not the worst case scenario. You at least have some extra money to work with. You guarantee yourself a bomb plant and can lift some of the pressure off with a slightly better buy going into the next. You'll have firepower to play with. Galil's, Tech-9's, utility as well, which on Ancient is a real big part of the puzzle.
Well, it absolutely is. Being able to cordon off areas and bottleneck positions so that you can systematically shut down or take certain areas is part and parcel of the Ancient experience. So Nexa has to go in for the shoulder peaks. Rain on the wide swing, gets spotted, smoke down. That pretty much is going to be a red light in the face of FaZe. They cannot push through here. Karrigan's going to try and get aggressive elsewhere. Gets the upper hand onto HooXi. Switching weapons, gets punished. But at least he's keeping some initiative over on the other side of the map, and that's going to keep some of those rotations from coming in just yet.
When we hit the minute mark on this one, FaZe will be revving their engines for the play towards the A site. This is where you would need your anchor in Nexa to defend. Problem is, he got a little bit drawn off. Went for the wrap round through Donut. It's the spam from Hunter to get the opening pick, and Frozen's been shattered. The MP9 takes a bite out of him, but Brokey battles back. 2 frags on the Galil. Bomb being planted, the CT's isolated towards the smoke. Meanwhile, NiKo pulls up and finds the first pick. It's all on ropz, Vince.
A player of extreme levels of calmness, but Hunter, wide swinging ropz, was caught in 2 minds. Should I watch CT or Donut? It ended up being to his downfall. And G2 off to a cracking start here, breaking back the economy once more. And we're really seeing what this team is capable of when they're firing on a few of those cylinders. I'm not going to say all cylinders just yet. They have obviously 2 or 3 more gears to go through, but we're seeing very early signs of a G2 that came here not to participate in this match, not to be the underdogs, but to actually show people why they're disappointed in some of these performances, because people know the potential this roster has.
the firepower, the legacy. A lot of eyes on them, a lot of stock on the team. Into this round though, with limited utility, they eat the nades. Lane control is firmly passed over to G2 as they control it. With the opening Molotov, the smokes to block off the angles, and a HE that strips away noise from Carrigan and leaves him trapped. First frag found, mollies go over to block off the common positions here for the CT side. NiKo trapped inside of the cave with the backup of hooXi. They pepper through the wall bang, but no connection, Vince. Meanwhile, NiKo tries to bleed out on the side, but it's a 1-for-1 trade.
Did a lot of damage to Brokey as well, though. Down to 4 HP. And considering that you have a HE, an incendiary, a flash, and 2 of the 3 players are just a couple of gusts of wind from death, it's looking poor for FaZe's endeavors to clutch out. It would have to come down to Frozen, realistically. They've tickled the bomb. The smoke's not great. It does afford a small gap in there, but the molly behind it could be a problem. Frozen now with the spray gets one, but that won't be good enough. And Brokey is already pieced out. Enough time for the defuse. It just goes to show, though, that if Frozen could string together 2 or 3 kills there, that was a winnable round for FaZe. G2, though, 3-0 start.
Third round hanging on by a few small threads. But a round nonetheless. FaZe, slow start into the second map. The bomb plant guaranteeing the extra cash. They can once again get strapped. They pull out the AKs, Vince. Few players yet to find impact into this one. ropz quiet at the minute. Same can be said for Rain. And they get activated in this 4th round. Lane control continues to be easy to fight for G2, but Carrigan hits the head of hooXi and shuts down the cave control.
Hunter needs help now. He needs his teammate of NiKo to come down and allow him safe passage to get the evac out of Cat. m0NESY with 2, though. And that second Tech-9 shot was a thing of beauty. Carrigan, though, is going to keep the dream alive. Continues to get entries. And smoke onto CT. But the bomb's nowhere near. Still, Rain has to go by and pick up this bomb, which is going to allow rotations to come in if G2 realize what's coming up. 2 players stuck in CT, with NiKo still watching B site.
m0NESY teetering on the edge of the smoke, wanted to see if he had an opportunity to push in. They re-smoke, but he's already got ahead of it. Ooh, trying to play around the Molotov, but Carrigan's swing slices his head off. Meanwhile, Hunter strikes with 1 onto Rain, and it all falls onto NiKo. He's been having a huge series so far in a 1v2 with a back turned. He tries to strike, punishes onto Carrigan, losing a lot of his HP. Both of them doubling up to play against him. He gets the dink, Vince, but no frag and no round. FaZe get there first.
Oh, you could see that NiKo was trying so desperately to tap when there was 4 or 5 bullets left in the magazine, trying the precision, whips the USP out, takes the first, and knocks ropz to about 20 HP. So close, and yet so far. But with that being said, Jackie, although G2 did lose the round, they took 4 players down. So the T's, FaZe, still feeling the pinch, and here is that moment. NiKo will be devastated, but he so nearly got it done. Both teams' economy hangs by a thread. In just the 5th round, and we've reached a critical mass point in this game, and Hunter's been caught.
They've got G2's number now. They understand how to counter these early setups towards lane, and they're playing it differently. Not running into the nades, not getting battled back by the cave control. Instead, cutting off the rotation point and stopping them from doubling up on lane via middle. Carrigan also assaulting onto another player, so both Hunter and NiKo are down and out early. And you've got all the map control in the world now, Vince. You've got the setup with Carrigan in the backstab position towards CT. hooXi loses his face in a matter of seconds as well. And this round is coming up FaZe Clan.
m0NESY with the freebie. Carrigan caught napping. Waiting for that rotational play to come in. Little did he know that m0NESY is still in with a chance. And while m0NESY is alive, there is a way forward. Finds the timing on the smoke. Neutralizes Frozen. And in the meanwhile, long flank from nexa. But m0NESY may not need anybody else. He may be about to do this all alone. ropz and Brokey stand between m0NESY And a back-breaking moment for FaZe. A round that should have been straightforward. A 2 versus 4 as m0NESY nearly gets caught in transition. Nexa now, though, has an opportunity with this MP9 at range. He tries to spray, but he can't get any kills. And with m0NESY on low hit points and no kit, it's such a valiant, heroic effort. But unfortunately, it's a bridge too far. And FaZe will double up their tally at 3-2.
The bomb detonates and FaZe find their second. And the players that were yet to find their footing in the first few rounds have come alive now, Vince. Frustration for G2 as well, shown on the face of m0NESY. The concentration of FaZe on full display. The frags they found will have no impact overall. Forcing out a couple rebuys, sure, and slightly denting the economic bank for FaZe, but they can buffer it and get themselves back in. Carrigan, down on just the MAC-10. And what's the change here? What's the difference for G2 in terms of the way they play it? Because they don't have utility. They're not able to fight for lane as aggressively, and they've realized they're coming unstuck towards the early mid contact as well. They keep giving up a free frag. Past 2 rounds now, the opening pick has gone the way of FaZe because of that. The hero rifle on the hands of m0NESY pushes down ramp for early contact, and they've got a bit of a read at least in terms of the opening positions from FaZe.
An early read, but what can they do with that information with such a distinct lack of weaponry and health on a couple of players? Hoping maybe for a FaZe overlook, a bit of a mistake coming in for one of these players to gift wrap an AK across. The difference between some of these players, the best in the world and the rest, is that they're able to carve a path out of nothing, to create opportunities where there doesn't seem like there's any really available. And that's where you're looking at NiKo's Deagle. You're looking at that AK on the side of m0NESY. But Rain has found himself tons of information. A B site bereft of any CTs, and that will be a 3rd round to FaZe. Very likely coming in. The question really is if G2 want to throw this AK away, and I really doubt it. I'd imagine that m0NESY saves and the rest of the team try and bodyguard him. Maybe throw a couple of these pistols in for exit frags, but yeah, this is a done deal.
They're exiting out towards middle though through Donut. And this will be a shooting gallery. You're all going to be peeking into Brokey with the backup of Frozen 1 by 1. The frags all fall in favor of FaZe, and they get nothing. Zilch, nada from the round. G2 giving up the AK, hoping for some sort of success on the mid push, but not to be found here. The gamble stacked towards the A site as well. It's a 50-50 chance in a round like that. You've only got the one weapon, so you're hoping to stack your players together and increase your odds of winning the round. Of course, FaZe went for the slow B play. Do take that one all the way to the bank. A timeout being used here, the first into the second map for G2.
You know, in conversation with the rest of FaZe, and meanwhile G2 in deep thought. m0NESY rattling off a couple of thoughts at the end there, but we are tied up so evenly spread. It was a super close start to Anubis as well, but once that second half came in, it was one-way traffic, and it was pretty much NiKo and m0NESY behind the steering wheel. We were both really looking forward to Ancient, though. I think it's a map that's fantastic for both of these teams. They're very evenly matched. Stylistically, it's a really fun game as well, as you're seeing firsthand. Mollies and smokes tossed out, Hunter taking mid-control. We've seen him do this a couple of times. One completely backfired, so he's not going to overextend this time.
The difference here is this is more of an early A contact being set up by FaZe. Push towards the extremities, leave the lurk of Rain. Using a lot of utility again to control towards Cave here for G2, but he's got ahead of it. Default smokes go up as well, block off Donut, block off CT, and see if they can fight out towards Temple side. Every line of sight is restricted for G2, but nexa puts himself on a pedestal. The smoke's broken and Carrigan bursts, finding the early frag.
Oh, that smoke was so beautifully carved aside like Moses at the Red Sea, and it allowed FaZe to stampede their way across to a fourth. They breach the gap, they golf it fully, and although m0NESY gets a parting gift, he is now last man standing. There is no way forward for m0NESY apart from through FaZe. And he's the kind of player that can make that happen, but Frozen will deny him the luxury and opportunity. Yeah, that HE onto the smoke was delicious timing for FaZe, and the rest was just a formality at that point.
And karrigan with confidence is a scary beast to have to deal with, Vince. Continue to fight as he just runs in and abuses Hunter towards CT, makes the round look easy. Like you say as well, perfect play with the utility. And FaZe adapting. Looking quite dynamic on their T side. G2 coming unstuck as well because they haven't had the funds to support the utility. And Brokey with the scope in his hands, the weapon that was stolen from m0NESY now being used against the very player himself. Peeks out, but m0NESY still punishes. Hits the head on Brokey and leaves it down to him to defend the site. The Deagle keeps on singing, Vince. Frag after frag, he's holding back the wave.
Not just holding it back, he's repelled it as well, Jackie. He's forced them away from the site. They're going to have to go back in. Now onto A instead, where nexa is laid in wait with his 5-7. But HooXi's got a good read of the situation. They hear the flurry of mollies and smokes preceding the push. And now m0NESY needs to join them. They won't be able to deny the bomb plant. Nexa is playing with the food. They get in each other's way, and Frozen shuts down ropz before he falls prey. Rain is last man standing, double sprays up, knows where nexa is, and Rain will clutch. But FaZe so nearly threw that across the rocks. Oh my goodness, that was incredibly close.
Oh, mate. Teetering on the brink of defeat by their own hands. Minor misplays. A major moves from m0NESY with the Deagle towards the B bomb site. The issues were cropping up, but FaZe survive. Even with the blood of ropz on the hands of Frozen, the Cool brothers fighting against one another. The 5th round is still FaZe's. Round 9 goes live. Weapons to play with on either team. Full buys across the board. You've got the nade set you need to hold back the early play towards the B site as well. You can see G2, because of the way FaZe have been playing this, Vince, they're so much more paranoid about the possibilities of the fight towards middle.
How many times have FaZe relied on Rain to dig them out of a deep ditch? Very well played by him, but shouldn't have been required in the first place. That being said, though, does take the early damage. Through the cave wooden panels. NiKo and HooXi there. Oh, karrigan takes a stray bullet to the head and then Rain gets peppered again. They're not going to know this necessarily, but 2 players already on the brink of death. And they haven't even seen a CT thus far.
The nade ricocheting round the corner into front cave, giving away the audio cue and cutting noise for both NiKo and HooXi. The T's begin to set the precedent. The fact that they want to go for the execute on the B site. Timing of the Molotov is delicious though, Vince. It's going to burn them down into the final 25 seconds before they can commit to this play.
m0NESY, too hot to handle, has to fall back. It's a great cost, and Brokey finishes him off. They would have heard the singeing sound of burning flesh and administered the mercy kill in the end. And now HooXi caught. It's still alive. Had a very good performance in the first map. But he's going to have to go above and beyond. Oh, the barrel, that AWP is going to give karrigan's position away all day, every day. But Brokey, spray control on point. HooXi, though, exploding out of cave. First in, and Rain again. 2 consecutive rounds with tons of impact. And FaZe extend their lead to 6-3.
These rounds from Rain bode well for FaZe. Stepping up when it matters most, the entire team now delivering. Down to the wire again, Vince. Utility as well, giving them a big boon into that round. The Molotov usage towards cave on the site as well, forcing G2 into unfavorable angles and leaving them in this position. just pistols to work with other than the one MP9 for Nexa. We've seen this previously. He gets a bit antsy towards the A play. He tries to jiggle it for contact and does get tagged. Brokey through the wall, strips some HP off him, but Nexa dashes the smoke and falls back.
It's a nice shot from Brokey. That's a fast reaction shot. Unfortunately, as you said, it wings him. It blows the elbow off of Nexa. He does have the MP9. Can wield that with the one hand for now. No problems. What is a problem for G2 is that they're hemorrhaging rounds. And that momentum that never really got behind the wings of FaZe on Anubis is certainly here in full swing on Ancient. And although G2 get aggressive out on Catwalk, it's an A-sided play on the side of FaZe, and we haven't really seen this thus far, Jackie. They've hit A, but it's typically been off a rotation, a call, late on in the round.
Depends on if the CTs give them any inches to work with, any fine margins. Timing on this is going to be crazy, Vince. They adjust their crosshairs as there was another man pulling up to back them up towards middle, just as we saw the push down on lane. Karrigan being spammed at, the 5-7 nipping at his heels. Munacy's Deagle unable to deliver. The MP9, good for one, but the 5-7 of Hunter claps back for another. Rain is continuing to be the beast for FaZe as he's making the difference round after round. Hunter shoots at the toes, but they stay alive. 20 seconds on the clock, Vince.
And NiKo still alive, still activated, still healthy. If Hunter can draw some fire, that could allow his cousin to come in and clean up the rest. He's got one. Better than NiKo could have hoped for. And NiKo's position is still unknown. He's made no noise. But this is the third round in a row that Rain is going to be required, and NiKo's going for the full-on defuse. Are you serious, NiKo? The ice in this man's veins, and he snatches it. Breaks the heart of Rain, breaks his back. Full 10-second defuse.
The confidence of that man. The stature we've seen in this series, the play that he makes back on Anubis. Being the backbreaker, this time strips away another Rain round from FaZe. That's unbelievable, Vince. That's going to do so much for them and keeps them in a good position on their CT side now. 6-4, G2, with the confidence of 1,000 men in the 1v1.
Well, if that doesn't rally the troops, I don't know what does, Jackie. That's got them right back into this half. In many ways, economically, confidence-wise, raw rounds, and NiKo decides he's done playing proactively around the mid portion of the map. He wants to get down on ramp this time. He's joined by Hooksy. Tons of T's behind the smoke, which is about to fade and gets replenished again by NiKo. And that's going to waste a lot of time for FaZe here. And they also have pretty much no control over the map. Hunter's down on mid. You got Nexa looking into A main. They have a very good read of the situation.
They've been playing with the T's, making small audio cues, the dropped nades, the slight movement, trying to keep them trapped here for as long as possible. They know they have to clear towards the right side. They made that obvious by dropping the smoke across to NiKo, so they'll force his peak first. But as two players playing together for the run out. Meanwhile, they start to sell the idea that this is an A play. Nexa takes a ton of damage and loses his audio as they start to slip his way by Karrigan on the front of the site, but he's slain, and you've still got that deep control. They're not going to bite and rotate offense, so they're able to hold it.
They're going to try and hold him here, but it's Hunter and Nexa that remain. Just seeing from Karrigan's perspective, trying to call the round from beyond the grave. Frozen with Brokey now coming through. Flashes and smokes being tossed in this post plant, and the shutdown is available. The spray on point from Frozen and snatches the life away from G2. The flank on point.
The 7th round. Every time we see FaZe picking one of these up, Fins, it's off the back of one of them having a huge performance. They're passing the baton. And Rain, ungodly in some of these rounds. And now it comes down to this. Are we looking at an 8-4 or a 7-5? Munacy once again gets an opportunity to bring the scope out to play. The big green gun, the AWP, is brought to the table.
Yeah, Nexa's done a really good job as well. Although he's on 3 and 10, I know it looks pretty grim, but he's effectively been playing A alone most of these rounds. And his timing on these smokes, drawing out utility, cannot go unnoticed. It cannot go unchecked. It may go checked this round though, and nexa still posts up 2 kills with an MP9 and keeps them away from the smoke. That's a fantastic individual performance from nexa that could have just secured them so much going into this round. nexa now gets another couple, doing it all alone with a 4K. And although Brokey has been a man possessed on 13 frags, there are limitations to even his reach. What a round from nexa.
That's huge, man. The A anchor that sinks the FaZe Clan ship. Shutting it down with a masterclass towards the site and gives them a slightly easier time of it going into the second half, Vince. 7-5. If you get a pistol, it's a lot easier to bridge that gap.
Maybe nexa is the reason that they have been really adverse to the idea of hitting A, because they eventually go there and he just single-handedly slaps them upside the head and forces them back. 7-5 the score though, as you highlighted, still incredibly close. But now it's FaZe's turn to get on that CT side. We know they love to play aggressive down mid and catwalk. We saw it quite a few times from G2 to diverse results, really. Some were solid, some not so much, but this is rock solid from nexa.
Incredibly impactful 4K for him. And the aim skill and the use of utility is what made the difference. Sides are flipped though, and the second half pistol goes live. No downtime here. So momentum is going to be a big part of it. Early on, they set themselves up round towards the B site, fighting for lane. Carrigan hits the head of m0NESY, takes 2 to the grave as he goes down with nexa as well.
Well, he frags back and forth, but it's now FaZe taking the lead. Frozen still alive, still able to deliver some fatal blows if they overextend here. NiKo's out though, and he has full faith in his Glock aim. We saw him bag a bunch on Anubis in that pistol round, and he's got 3, a hat trick again. And still tons of time left on the clock here, Jackie. They don't have to force either way in. Can try and wait to see if the CTs blink first.
ropz requests the rotation, and Brokey begins to make his move back round through CT. 50 seconds on the clock. NiKo curious about what positions are in play. Hunter peeks into it, and his head gets obliterated. NiKo with 1 though. Now it's all down to the fine margins. A 1v1, time to work with. He can cut noise and slow down the round. Rotates offense, guaranteeing himself an opportunity to arrive on the A site and plant the bomb, forcing it into a 1v1 retake from Brokey.
Love the call. He's on 28 HP, his position is known. He knows if he wide swings the angle, 1 bullet and he's dead. Then this now allows him to control how this 1v1 comes down. This is exquisite play from NiKo. And it gives him a real chance to not just clutch this round, but to land the ace on top of it, and a round that G2 so desperately require. He's seen the script before with this full 10-second defuse. Brokey, he's not falling for it. He hears the sound cues. Brokey around the corner, and that is NiKo at his best.
Continues to deliver for G2. NiKo has had everything in this series so far, Vince. He's had highlight smoke shots. He's had 10-second defuses. And now, to take the pistol, he gets himself an ace. He can do no wrong in this series. And G2 edge 1 step closer to potentially being able to qualify to the Major in the space of 2 maps. A timeline that could very well become a reality if this continues. FaZe, they spend their money, they buy their way back into the game. MP9s, a scout, and a deagle in the hands of Carrigan.
Oh, double stack up on the platform. Don't see that too often. But I mean, MP9's tailor-made for these positions. Can understand fully why they've gone for it. They've seen the shadow of m0NESY. The wide swing, though, is not going to work, but you're not going to anticipate too. But unfortunately, Rain has fluffed his lines and hasn't really done much damage in the process. I mean, barely scratching the surface.
It's all going a little bit west Brokey back round towards CT, fires off the scout shot, and they begin to pull the plug. They're backing off. You've also seen NiKo's made his move up towards Cave and finding the head of Karrigan. Might as well have just saved the round for them. The rest are now going to be baited to push into the awaiting arms of m0NESY, still lurking towards A main. And Frozen falls. Brokey's scout vastly outnumbered. And the B bomb site given to G2.
Will G2 also take the life of Brokey, who was trying his damnedest to hold on to this scout? Throwing Donut side. We know that he can put this weapon to use, so it would be a nice little bonus to that next round prospect. Additionally, m0NESY is on the hunt, though. He's on the prowl. This round is going the way of G2 regardless. It is going to be a 7-7 scoreline, of course. It's just about finalizing the situation on the side of FaZe. But this will be the alarm bells beginning to ring, I think, Jackie, in this kind of a situation here. As you're getting a G2, there isn't just the m0NESY show. NiKo is shining bright on both maps. Nexa has done a lot of work as well. And Hunter may not have had his best game, but he's still on the server. And Brokey getting one could have just saved his own life. Oh, so close. But he is going to fall prey to Nexa in the end.
Frustrating stuff. Dejected faces. As the reality of the situation, the gravity of it all does start to kick in. Of course, they still have the safety net, Vince, of the fact that they've won all of their previous games up to this point. You're nowhere near close to not having your opportunity to make it to the first major. But it makes so much of a difference to do it in the space of 3 games. 3 straight wins at the EU RMR. ropz, he wants to make it electrifying, Vince. And maybe that's the defibrillator to get their lifeline going and get them straight back into the game.
That's what you need, but they've got to build upon that. They're still well and truly up against it, Jackie. Yes, it's a feels-good moment. Yes, it's a tilter if you're HooXi, but they still have tons of weaponry, loads of grenades. Do not allow yourself to get thrown off the chosen path, and that is for G2 to hit this B site. They've lost any flanking or lurking potential in this round. They barely have any mid control. They have to pressure forward. Molotovs tossed in, but considering 5.7s, Deagles, P250s are in play right now, they have to tread lightly. Smoke's gonna begin to fade. NiKo, as ever, in this best of 3 on point. Not missing a chance. Spray is good from NiKo, and now the AKs begin to rip and tear through FaZe Clan. Yes, you got the cheekies use kill, but that's all you're gonna get out of this round. As Brokey about to burn alive to the molly of Hunter, and G2 extend their lead.
A battle of the elements. The first being the shock of electricity for G2. And in the end, the flames shutting down FaZe. 8-7. FaZe Clan once again get a chance to wield weapons. The M4s all across the board, utilities there as well, Vince, and that's a staple. That's the difference maker on that CT side. It gives them what they need to fight for control, to be able to battle off G2 from their opening positions, and initially the Molotovs will hold back the wave. They wanted to go fast up ramp, but they're denied the push. Nade bounces wide, NiKo hits the head, Karrigan slain.
NiKo cracks open the site. And Rain, he was caught in the smoke for what would have felt like an eternity. Although Brokey does come back with one, the site has been pillaged. Brokey gonna try and plant that flag back down again with the FaZe colors, and it's ropz that joins him. The two of them have done it for now. But Hunter's brought us back into a 2-on-2. 1 minute 15 on the clock, but they've lost possession of the bomb. They could maybe fake out an over-rotation, but Brokey's having none of it. HooXi in a 1-on-2.
The heads-up play from Brokey. It makes a world of difference. HooXi. He's got to get the bomb. He's got to find a pathway into the bomb site, and they can play off each other. They can hold the crossfire. Brokey depth-defying stuff as he bounces back and stays alive. HooXi eats the nade, and time is ticking. Pressure's mounting. They've got a crossfire set up on this one with ropz on the off angle as well, and there is no good opportunity for G2 to make an easy move back into this round, Vince. Time is ticking, and it seems like FaZe have once again found an opportunity to get themselves around.
Still time though. And HooXi knows the economy of FaZe is busted. It's barely hanging. If he can find the golden ticket here, it would have been huge for G2, but FaZe can breathe a collective sigh of relief. As they've tied us up even again. And of course, G2 with a 13-8 victory on Anubis are just a few steps away from booking their spot at the Copenhagen Major. All the pressure is now on FaZe.
And that would take us to the third map. If FaZe are able to find victory here, Vince, we would go to Inferno. Map that doesn't see much airtime in CS2's current form. But for it to be the third and final map of this particular series, the storylines would be there in droves. Early utility damage goes the same way. Again, the shrapnel does damage onto G2, but the frags are theirs. Karrigan has been taken out of commission in the same play once again, and they start to mount pressure on the site. They're already in, Vince.
I feel like I've got deja vu, Jackie. How many times has NiKo just run up ramp and got the first pick? It's outrageous. Some protocols need to be changed, maybe a couple of extra HEs or a Molotov early on to stop this from happening. But the rot continues to spread as NiKo continues to lay down the law and lives of the FaZe Clan players. And just in a couple of moments, FaZe have been destroyed again. And their A site has to be the sanctuary for the save. But NiKo just waltzing up ramp, just chilling. 18 kills, the guy just can't miss right now.
And like you say, they can get away with murder for absolutely free. No one's backstabbing. No one's charging at them. Spamming his way through cave, using the nades to hold them back. They're giving them an opportunity. They're giving them an entry point. G2, not missing a beat in terms of hitting their shots, are going to take that every damn day. One round, Vince. That's all it is. One round. But for the way this game is going right now, something has to change for FaZe, and the money isn't going to support them too much.
This is some ruthless aggression from NiKo, though. I mean, it's great to see, you know. Over the duration of the last few months, we've seen NiKo maybe lose some confidence, lose that extra pep in his step, lose that extra initiative to go for the peak where the old NiKo would have. We're seeing him again, man. And the results speak for themselves. He's cracked open his site multiple times by himself. In Anubis, he was doing the same thing. He hasn't shown any signs of slowing down in this BO3.
And that's what you need. A huge legacy behind him. But the future that could be ahead of him, Vince. Turning up, showing us that it's still there. It's still possible. And at the minute, he is leaving FaZe in a waking nightmare. And it's the fact that the rest of the team is able to support him as well. Game finally goes live once again, but you can see FaZe. Sure, they had time to talk about it and figure out what needs to change, Vince, but you're working with a broken buy. Few hero weapons, limited utility, and then just pistols for the rest.
The other problem as well, of course, is if you end up stacking into your next rifle round, a lot of investment with HEs and Molotovs onto ramp, and this time NiKo decides to go mid or A. You've expended so much. It's almost like he's conditioning FaZe at this point to fear the Reaper. But the Reaper, of course, is omnipresent, as is Karrigan, it would seem. IGL on IGL action, although m0NESY will make sure that there will be no brains behind the operation, continuing in terms of brute force with the MP9. nexa in the meanwhile, though, walks his up ramp, and he's going to get the same results, but he does get traded back. 3-on-3.
ropz on the box, plays the off angle. Flashbang out through cave, it'll blind Hunter, but too little, too late. He breaks the back of Brokey. You outnumber them. It's a tag, Vince, but he's still standing and can deny this push onto the site. Slow down the retake with the utility frozen. Wielding the AWP, misses the initial headshot. ropz good for one, and it's all on frozen now. He's got to get the reload off. 35 seconds on the clock, flashes over the top, and you can see NiKo setting his mind to rotating and going for a different maneuver. He's cut sound and he's running through middle. At the timing on it is the important part. Frozen misses the opportunity, Vince.
But he's at least seen NiKo. He knows what's coming up now. There's no doubts in his mind. NiKo's going to go for the full plant. Zero respect for the potential wide swing. And there's the headshot from NiKo. Once again rotating and so calm. Kind of rolls his eyes in relief. But the man has got it done once more.
He keeps winning these rounds. He keeps making such a difference for G2. And the tiniest of adjustments, Vince. You look at the timing when both of them sprint towards middle. It's one of those where it happens so many times. You see the AWP hit that shot, deny the round. Instead, NiKo surgically removes the head and puts them only 3 rounds away from being the first team to make it the Copenhagen Major.
Huxey's so aggressive through the myriad of mollies and smokes. Being planted down on catwalk. This time m0NESY's vision has been skewed by the smoke. But Huxey showing no signs of slowing down, pushes himself into cave. And that is going to take a little bit of the defense over and B away. You can see the adjustment they've made. Tons of smokes and mollies tossed down onto ramp, but it doesn't leave them much in return now. 1 minute and 15, 2 smokes and a HE remain.
They're being battered by the nades. They've got none of their own. They've not really got anything to battle back. Slow down G2, do to them what is being done to FaZe. And Huxey creeps in through the cave, slays Karrigan. m0NESY already scoped, finds the adjustment. As Brokey's gone. Back turn for Rain as well, Vince. This is only going to get worse as the time ticks.
And they seem to have a good read of the situation. They anticipate a 3-player stack. They know there's more than enough time, ample opportunity for a rotation to have already nestled itself onto the site. So NiKo taking no prisoners and taking no chances. Takes the head of Rain and shoves it away from the site. Hunter with a spray, and ropz is the last man alive. But his only mission is to save his orc. Any prospects of the round were long gone, thrown into the wind, and briskly forced away. So G2 will have an 11-8 lead, Jackie. I don't think many people would have gave them a chance to win this best of 3. I certainly think very few people would have said they 2-0 the series.
It's unbelievable scenes. And it's a huge return to form. Looking like a team, Vince. A collective effort. And another step closer to finishing this story, closing the book, completing their run here at the PGL RMR.
Man, Taz must be loving what he's watching right now. Just observing his team connecting, a well-oiled machine of murder at this point. I mean, FaZe are getting butchered on this off. It's been pretty straightforward on the side of G2. Can they find a second wind? The truly great teams can always keep themselves in their abouts and always pull the games back. We know that FaZe have that opportunity. We know they have that potential. They've shown us countless times. This is going to have to be another one, though, if they want to go through as a 3-0 winner to the Copenhagen Major. Let's see what they have up their sleeve.
You need that resilience. But more than that, you need a change of pace. You need some nades as well, Vince. They've gone for the SMGs, but they don't have the utility to hold back G2. And with the way they're set up deep inside of A main, this could go wrong quite quickly. Nexa, spam down, but m0NESY up close, wields the AWP like a shotgun and blows away ropz. A missed Molotov, but a follow-up frag. And one by one, they fall. FaZe. Their hopes and dreams lie on Brokey with just a deagle in his hands.
He's about to peek into NiKo. 22 and 10 for NiKo, 22 and 12 for m0NESY. It is no longer a solo effort on the side of G2, and they have 4 chances, 4 opportunities to book their spot in the major.
They can do it in 2 maps. They can do it right here, right now, and finish the job. FaZe, no room for error. The buys brought to the table. They have utility this time, and that's used to establish early map control, but look at the posturing, Vince. G2 want to go for all-out aggression on the A site. ropz must deny it with the AUG.
To play one in this position right now, it would be him. The initial spray is good. Mollied out of position with the flashes as well, and nexa returns the favor. Up trained to perfection, and now nexa needs to wide swing in. Karrigan stands his ground, drops the bomb and gets a second, giving a lifeline to FaZe.
A missed shot from nexa, and the problems are creeping in. FaZe are not giving up control of this game for free, and nexa falls as Brokey stands tall and gives them one more round.
They're hoping it's one of many, Jackie, and if they can continue to connect the dots like that, they have every chance of making it a reality. G2 are brought back to reality. It's not done just yet. They can't overlook this FaZe squad. Nice initial frag from ropz, but it was that double from Karrigan and Donut spilling the bomb down that was the difference maker.
And those are the rounds, man. Those are the rounds where Karrigan comes alive, right? The tenure, the experience. And now, after getting that round on the board, it makes you think maybe there is still a timeline. Still a possibility for this one to keep on going, Vince. The game that could give us a bit more.
We have to wait just a little bit longer, though. I saw ropz pulling out his in-ears, which is normally a sign of a technical problem. So fingers crossed it won't be too long before we get back underway. Just like to build the tension a little bit more, Jackie. You know, we're not done just yet. There may be another couple twists and turns in this story yet.
It's a series that is already delivered on all fronts. One to remember for fans of Counter-Strike across the globe. But a game that means so much for the 10 players that are in front of you. Their legacy, their hard work, the blood, sweat and tears, the hours dedicated for that opportunity, that chance to snatch the crown at the first CS2 Major, to be there in appearance. Comes down to these games, these rounds. Round 22 goes live.
Oh, these players have made so many sacrifices to be in this position in the first place. Means the world to each and every one. And of course the coaches as well behind them. Interestingly, Neo against Taz, all teammates. But in the here and now, HooXi has pushed up on the catwalk side and Frozen spills his blood down there and retrieves the kill. And it's a clean kill at that, you know. A flashbang out, Frozen goes for the repeak, but he is stuck between players. He at least has some backup, but NiKo is going to punish him for overstaying.
Isn't it fitting that it's NiKo again to be activated? nexa waiting for the repeak, but Brokey has been the only one that can slow down the AWPing superstar of nexa in this round. He's removed, blown away by the AWP of G2, and it all falls onto the last two members. FaZe Clan's hope and dreams in the best of three is on ropz and Karrigan.
Karrigan typically comes alive in these moments, but he's been put to his death by Hunter, and that leaves ropz now with so much pressure, so much to do. Yes, he's got the first pick, but it's one of the hardest areas in Counter-Strike to burst out from. He at least has the smoke and flash to dart back into. Time is low and Hunter shuts him down. G2 2-0 against FaZe and secure their spot at the Major. The first team in CS2 history to qualify for the Major.
The 13th Major for NiKo after playing a night